We are back, rocking and rolling from the break on In My Own Words, the podcast, Touchdown Alabama magazine. In the first segment, got a chance to lay out my 5 most valuable players, 5 impact guys for the Crimson Tide in the win against Texas A&M. But now, head coach Nick Saban, fresh off his game week presser on Wednesday, Crimson Tide finalizing preparation for the Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns that match up this weekend, 11 a.m. Central Time kickoff at Bryant-Denny Stadium. I hinted to a topic prior to taking that first break, dealing with the offensive line. And going back to when Nick Saban first arrived in Tuscaloosa that fateful day, January 4th, 2007, when he came into Tuscaloosa Regional Airport, and he stood in front of millions of hungry, thirsting Crimson Tide fans that were just waiting for this program to return back to the glory years of Frank Thomas and Wallace Wade and Paul Bear Bryant and Gene Stallings. And one of the things Saban mentioned, it probably was the first thing he said, was, we are going to give you a product that you, the fans, you, the individuals that lust, crave, desire big-time Bama football, we are going to give you, the fans, a product that you are going to be proud of. And a big part of that product, where Alabama is concerned, is the ability to successfully run the football and establish that physical tone in the trenches. In 11 of 12 seasons, Nick Saban has witnessed 9 1,000-yard rushers, the latest Damian Harris in 2017. We're talking 2 Heisman Trophy winners, Mark Ingram 2009, Derrick Henry 2015, a number of different guys, different backs selected in the NFL draft, and quite a few of those guys still having success in the league. The point I'm trying to get to is the biggest part of the product that Saban wants you to be excited about, that he puts on the field, has been the running game. The ability to wear guys down with the ground and pound late in ball games, being able to get a hat on a hat. You take that cat, I take that cat, you get this cat, and let's roll. That part of the aspect has been missing this season. And when you look at the 4 backs Alabama has on the roster with Damian Harris, Najee Harris, Josh Jacobs, and Brian Robinson, this should not be happening. I understand there are times where, one of those guys may have a bad game. You're human, it happens, but not all 4 backs are having a bad game. This is a product of the offensive line is having some issues. And hopefully these issues get worked out against Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns prior to facing Arkansas, Missouri, and the rest of the Southeastern Conference schedule. But I have 3 reasons as to why the Tide is having such a difficult time establishing the run game, getting these guys going. Reason number 1, the RPO schemes, the run-pass option schemes. It's kind of throwing the offensive line off. And Mike Locksley has done a great job calling this offense. He's been tremendous. Texas A&M, the long time this season where the Tide has not put up 50 points. So Coach Locks has done his thing. But at times when you look at RPOs, offensive line, they're trying to figure out where the ball is going just like everybody else is. So when you're running RPOs, upon the ball being snapped, the quarterback is reading that defensive end. He is putting that ball in the belly of the running back, trying to figure out, is that defensive end going to come up to pressure me so I can let the ball go into the hands of that running back and we can get upfield and get yards that way? Or is he going to not take the running back? I can pull the ball out the guy's belly and stretch it downfield in the passing game. And what has the offensive line so conflicted is When that ball is snapped and you got those guys moving down the field and it's a passing play, then a flag gets called for illegal man downfield. At times, RPOs throw offensive linemen off due to they want to know, are we passing the ball here? Are we running the ball here? Because, once again, Tua's reading the defensive end. He's trying to see, if this guy crashes to this back, I can throw the football. If this guy is going to try to take me, then I'm getting this ball, I'm sticking this ball in the belly of the back, and I'm letting this guy take it and go with it. A lot of times, run-pass options work, tempo works. Alabama has had success with it this season, but there are those moments where when you have guys from the front line that have an agenda of, we're trying to establish a run game, and they're having a difficult time trying to figure out, okay, are we throwing this? Are we running this? RPOs kind of mess with an offensive line. So, number one, Coach Locke's doing this thing with the RPOs, but at times that has thrown off the timing of the offensive line in terms of guys getting their feet set, guys understanding what the play call is, and more importantly, guys knowing and being able to differentiate, are we running this or are we throwing this football? Number two for me, even when you're not running RPO, just getting a push in short down and distance situations have been a struggle for the Tide. I've noticed a couple of times this season where Alabama has been in 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, second down and let's say 5 or 4, where you call a run play and Alabama may run to the right side where Jedrick Wills, and Alex Leatherwood are, and they're not getting a push, and guys are getting to the backfield, stopping Damian Harris, Najee Harris, and company. I mean, when the only game this season where you have had a 100-yard performer was Najee Harris against Arkansas State, who had a career-high 135 yards, is a problem. Tua has been tremendous throwing the football. He has. Spinning the magic bean beautifully. I've mentioned in the first segment, I don't think he needs a full game doing the Heisman Trophy, but what's going to make Tua that much more dominant, that much more effective, is being able to have the run game consistently going, because now the defense is in a real ninja toward jiu-jitsu mindset, because you're thinking, okay, what do I do now? Because I already can't stop the Hawaiian punch killing me. Now the run game's going. What am I going to do? As a defensive mind, what am I going to do? I got the throwing Samoan knocking me out, and now I got Damian Harris and the click throwing me a haymaker. What is my next move? I don't have a next move. So what's going to make Tua even better is getting this run game going, getting that push. And, it starts with firing off the line of scrimmage. Brent Key, offensive line coach, who's a very, very talkative guy. I heard from a lot of players during the Southeastern Conference media days in the summer, fall camp for the Crimson Tide, that he has grown along with this group, being able to understand more of these guys, feel more of these guys out, get the production he's seeking for with these guys confidently. But in Wednesday's practice, Brent Key, a lot more yelling than I'm used to hearing from him. A lot more physicality of tone, demonstrative, of tone that I'm used to him seeing. So he's definitely trying to get his guys to play with that more mean streak. And then, of course, having Matt Womack back from injury, the 6'7", 325-pounder, is a big deal. The Mississippian last year, starting right tackle for the Crimson Tide on a group that was a finalist for the Joe Moore Award, suffered a foot injury in fall camp, missed 4 to 6 weeks, but now he's back practicing with the second team group. Very happy for that. But number two that's throwing Bama off, you gotta get a push. It's a lack of a push especially in short yardage situations. You got to get that push, because right now, if you look at a lot of Bama fans, they look at Josh Jacobs as the best back on this team, and that's not a bad way to go. I mean, he can do it all. Can run the ball in between the tackles, tough guy despite his size, dangerous in space, superior pass catcher, we've seen that, underrated pass blocker, we've seen that. But the reason why he's the best on this team so far is Josh Jacobs fits an RPO offense better than Damian Harris, Najee Harris, and Brian Robinson. Josh Jacobs is so shifty, he doesn't need a full hole developed. Just give him a little crevice, a little crease, and he'll slither and slide and finesse his way to 3-4 yards. He can do that. Versus a Damian Harris, who's a more compact back, a Najee Harris, who's a bigger back, a Brian Robinson, who's built like Bo Scarborough. They need an initial hole. They need a hole where you can drive a semi-Mack truck through. They need an initial hole to set their feet, to get their vision in the cutback lane going, versus a Josh Jacobs where just give me a crease. All I need is a slither, a peephole of an opening, and I'll get through. That's why Josh Jacobs is the best back thus far, because the RPO system fits him better than it fits the other three. However, at the end of the day, Alabama offensive line needs to get that push. That's number 2. At number 3, the switching of guys to different positions is what's bothering this offensive line. Nick Saban, and I'm not one to always question him. I am not one to always want to deliver the commands in which he provides. Him challenging the media on, critique this team, media, critique us. We're not always great, critique us. And you're like, Nick, I mean, I get it, Skylar DeLong is struggling, but with the offense that Alabama has, do you really think Skylar DeLong is going to punt the ball 100 times? No. I mean, I get it. The run game is a bit out of sorts, but with Tua Tagovailoa slinging coconuts and pineapples every day, do you think the offense is going to really sputter out of control? Probably not. But my thing here is, I feel like Saban and Brent Key should have never switched Jonah Williams to left tackle. Jonah is a natural right tackle. We saw it in his freshman year in 2016 when this guy was a freshman All-American, a freshman All-Southeastern Conference player. He completely outplayed Cam Robinson, who was at left tackle that year. You keep Jonah at right tackle, and I get it. Saban felt like, the fan base felt like, let's flip our experience from right tackle to left tackle because of losing Cam Robinson. And a lot of fans felt he played right tackle well. What's the big difference going to left tackle? It's just one spot. He should be able to pick it up quick. He's smart. He's intelligent. True, but there's a difference. At left tackle, you have to be more left foot dominant, and Jonah Williams is not that. Also at left tackle, you got to have some size and some girth to play that spot. With the exception of Barrett Jones, who is just highly intelligent, Nick Saban's criteria to play at left tackle, you got to be at least 6'6" and have a killer wingspan, because you've got to have those long arms to fend off the edge rushing defensive ends and outside linebackers that are coming to knock the block off your quarterback. And when you look at guys like Big Andre Smith, Cam Robinson, Cyrus Kwanjo, those types of players, they were all 6'6" and tall. Now, Jonah Williams, intelligent. Jonah Williams, smart. Williams, instinctive. But he's 6'5", doesn't have that much of a wingspan. He was a more natural right tackle. And even when he played left tackle in 2017 and he got hurt in the title game, Alex Leatherwood comes off the bench from Pensacola, Florida, and does an incredible job protecting Tua to the second half that he had. Leatherwood is 6'6", 320. The ideal size for Saban as a left tackle, the ideal wingspan for Saban as a left tackle. Alex Leatherwood is a natural fit at left tackle. I don't know why Vitae has him playing guard. He's not a guard. He does not work well in a phone booth. He is naturally a dominant left leg, left arm person. He's a natural left tackle. So that's an issue for me. You keep Leatherwood at left tackle. You keep Jonah Williams at right tackle. I understand Jedrick Wills mentioned in his recruitment that he wants to be a tackle. He doesn't want to be a guard. But when you look at the National Football League right now and how much of appreciation is put on offensive guards, on guys that can play inside, be that road grading mauler in the run game, and can kick outside and play a tackle position if need be, those are in high demand. And when you look at the University of Alabama, the mecca of college football, the place where every scout is at every practice and every game, Jedrick Wills' best spot to get to the NFL is firmly understanding at some point he's going to have to play guard. Because with his size at 6'5", 314, or 6'5", now 309 pounds, dropped some weight in the summer, playing that guard position is going to really help him. Because he's natural at run blocking. So playing that guard position, much better for him. So keeping Jonah at right tackle would have been better off. Putting Alex Leatherwood at left tackle, putting Jedrick Wills at a guard position. Here's how Alabama's offensive line should have looked this entire season. This is how it should have looked. It should have been Jonah at right tackle, Lester Cotton at right guard, Ross Pierce-Baker at center, left guard Jedrick Wills, left tackle Alex Leatherwood. That's how it should have been. And even with a guy like Ross Pierce-Baker, and he's going to make adjustments at that center position. He will get better there, but there are still moments where, Ross kind of feels lost after getting that snap down. I feel like he's so prone to, I gotta get the snap right, to where upon the ball being snapped, is not being able to control where everybody else is doing in the blocking scheme, as well as get his hands on his guy and move up to the second level, right? Because guys prior to Ross, Barrett Jones, William Vallejos, Antoine Caldwell, guys like Ryan Kelly, even Bradley Bozeman, who was serviceable last year, they had the intelligence to know, you get that guy, I'm getting this guy, I'm calling out that guy. They control the entire line. They control the entire line in pre-snap. They control the entire line upon the ball being snapped. And in post-snap, they knew what to do. They knew where to go. Highly intelligent, athletic, knew where to go. At times, because Ross is so used to playing guard, Pierce-Baker now at center, having a difficult time controlling the whole front, on top of getting the snap right and then doing his job upon the ball being snapped. Not saying he will not master it and get better at it. I believe he will, but this is another reason why Emil Ikior was brought in for the 2018 class, a natural center. There's just something about when you are natural at that position, you are more prone to do it better than somebody who's just been put at that position due to some switches being made along the group. That's what I'm saying. So Ikior coming up is going to have an opportunity, but Jonah should have been staying at right tackle. Alex Leatherwood's a tackle. He's not a guard, preferably a left tackle. Jedrick Wills is more so of a guard. And going back to that tackle position, you have three guys at Alabama that have that wingspan to play left tackle. You got Leatherwood, you've got Scott Lashley out of Mississippi, who's 6'7", and you also got Matt Womack, who's 6'7", despite Womack still working with that second team group. So, once again, hopefully, this week, Brent Key, a lot more talkative, a lot more animated, a lot more demonstrative, so he will get this thing in order. The biggest thing is for the Tide, get this thing in order this week where the run game is concerned against Louisiana before you get back into the meat of your Southeastern Conference schedule. So, rounding this thing out here, the three things, in my opinion, that have been trouble for the offensive line thus far. Number one, RPOs, throwing the timing of the offensive line off a bit. You can still run the RPOs, but for Alabama's offensive line, got to get used to that timing of being able to recognize, okay, we're running the ball here, we're passing the ball here, getting that timing down. That's number one. Number two, lack of a push, especially in short yardage. Bama got to get that push. You got to generate that push, that power upon the ball being snapped, showing that nastiness in the run game. And then number three, for me, some switching that was made on the offensive line that I personally did not agree with, but Nick Saban's the coach. He's getting paid the big bucks. We will see what happens. Taking our final break here on In My Own Words, yours truly, Stephen M. Smith. When we get back, laying down my 5 Crimson Tide players on the clock for this week against the Ragin' Cajuns. Keep it locked right here, folks. We'll be back.